All right. Guess I'll turn off dog cam. Because there's no dog to look at anyway. Yeah, I gotta work on something with the whole overlay. I'm not happy with it. And I'm not happy with this music. I'm just unhappy today. Actually, I'm in kind of a good mood. It's weird. There we go. Fire hair, yes, yes. Yesterday I went and got, what did they call it? Ghost roots or something? They called it ghost roots. And then when my hairdresser showed me a website and it showed like Billie Eilish with like green roots, and I don't remember what the rest of her hair was colored, but it's like, here's the hottest trend of 2026. I'm like, oh, I'm trendy for the first time ever in my life. I'm trendy. Yeah, check me out. So yeah, they also darkened the brown. I don't know if it was a polite way of saying, we'll get rid of the gray or what, but they just suggested they do the roots red and darken the brown everywhere else. So this is my Worldcon haircut. So thank you. That's very kind of everybody. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, I have. I'm desperately trying to get a lot of stuff done before the con, which I guess everybody understands and deals with. It's a pain, but I've also been trying to do like a bunch of personal stuff, and I find it difficult to write or work at my mom's house, and I had to go spend some time with her yesterday. And then today I had a meeting with my nutritionist, and I'm trying to actually make the nutritionist worthwhile for the money I'm paying. So I had all of my food logs scribbled down into a notebook, and I decided to put it into a spreadsheet. So that was my morning's work. So yeah, I'm like, oh, there's a couple of days before we leave, because we're doing we're doing a little bit of vacation for the first half of the week. Gonna see Matt and a couple other friends out there, and go to Disney, do an Angels game, and then lots of stuff at the con. What's falling? Something's falling. Okay, but first we're gonna talk podcast. I was gonna do a podcast to release next week in my new attempt to actually be consistent. But I wasn't sure whether I should do it live or not live. And then that was the roadblock that stopped me, so I haven't decided yet. But like in theory, I would put this one up, and then I would put the next one up to schedule properly. I don't know. But we can get started because I've got a whole bunch of books to send. I did the book giveaways. Didn't get a lot of attention, so almost everybody who asked to be part of the giveaway won a book. I would say this should be incentive to anybody to join the next one. Only if you all join the next one, then it will be less chance to win. But it's good for me because it actually shows listeners engaged. So I don't know. I'm going to keep doing it because I got to get rid of the book somehow until I decide that the shipping is just too much. I've learned a lot about U.S. shipping. I've learned about the priority mail ease, which I guess is a little bit more expensive, but it's just so easy because you put it in the envelope, and then there's a standard rate. Only I didn't realize I grabbed 3 priority mail and 3 priority mail express. One of them was $11 and the other one is $31. So I have to go back to the post office and get more of the non-$31 envelopes. And I guess that's all about me to say before the stream starts, or the stream is started before the podcast starts. I've only got one topic today, but I'll probably talk about con prep. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. I should be writing Season 22, Episode 19. Hey guys, welcome to I Should Be Writing. This is a podcast and live stream for wannabe fiction writers, or hopeful fiction writers, or beginning fiction writers, or fiction writers, or anybody who just likes to talk about creativity. I don't care. All are welcome. My name is Mer Lafferty, and I've been doing this show since 2005. In fact, we just passed the 21th. I almost said 21th, and I just did say 21th. 21st anniversary of the podcast was a couple of weeks ago, and my dog was sick, so I couldn't mark it, but I was very happy anyway. And the dog is okay. But I've been podcasting for a very long time, and I've been writing professionally since the early teens. My next book is Second Best Heroes, I believe it's called. I do know about my book. Marketing and I have gone back and forth on the title so often that I forgot. And we don't have a cover yet, so I haven't wedged that in my mind. But anyway, it's a fantasy novel that comes out next year. Plenty of time to pre-order. I don't know if it's up for pre-order yet. I'm so good at this marketing thing, aren't I? Anyway, I use this podcast to talk to people who have dreams of being more creative in their life, but they are their own worst enemy and get in their own way. Because I do that every day. Like today. I did it today. First we talk about accountability. What have I been up to? God. Right. I'm seeing my agent next week. I hope. We don't have anything scheduled yet, but he promised me he'll see me. And I've been doing the page 1 to done, as I mentioned last week. I've been doing the Jessica Brody approach to outlining, and I've got 4 projects that are outlined like that. I need to get 1 more and then sit down and write a bunch of words. And the rest has been getting ready for Worldcon, which I leave on Sunday to go to. This is a live stream. We stream on twitch.tv/MightyMer, and we stream Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And the Kids Are Asleep is here, and Steve is here. Hello. And Underpope can't wait till Worldcon. Me too. And all of my shout-outs are broken, it seems. This sounds like a problem for 2 weeks from now, Mer. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, so I recently attended, oh my God. I can't even remember the name of it. It was kind of a haphazard event in the area. It was about games and supporting people who make games, and it was going to be in the Durham Convention Center, but then last minute got moved to a much smaller area, and a couple of pros that I know came to town, like Tanya DePass, and that happened. It was not well, it wasn't well put on. It had a great idea behind it and not very good execution. That's the word I'm looking for. Beyond the sudden change of event space. But one thing that happened kind of broke my heart. 2 people were on stage talking about, just stop worrying and write it already, which is, kind of what this podcast is every time. And I was kind of nodding along and appreciating everything they had to say. And then this one guy is in the audience and he's like, yeah, but I've got this. What if I've got a bunch of ideas and I choose one, then that means I'm neglecting all the others. And this speaks to me because I don't know what it is about my mind, but it feels better to neglect all of the children than to officially choose one and officially neglect the other 9, even though I'm getting work done. It's just a weird emotional thing that you have to get past. And the person on stage, Toya, was giving him advice, And I wish I'd recorded it or written it down or something, but it was, okay, I've got this problem with, he didn't say it, but it's like, it's an ADHD problem. It's a creativity problem. And then she would give advice, and he's like, yeah, but I can't do it because of X, Y, and Z. And then she would address that and give more advice. And he'd be like, yeah, but I can't do it because of this. And then at one point he came back to the fact that he's got a bunch of ideas and doesn't know how to choose one and doesn't know which ones to neglect. And I got the realization, which was he wants a magic bullet. He doesn't want, every piece of advice Toya gave him was, you have to get past this and do some work. They were all said differently. There was some advice in there. It was good advice. But it boiled down to, you're going to have to make a choice and do the work. And he did not want to hear that. And it's so hard knowing that there's a bunch of us now out here giving advice on building a writing career. And sometimes there's advice that you need to hear. And I hope that I give you some of that. And some of that is like, you're not the only one getting rejected. Working writers get rejected. I only know 1 or 2 writers who don't get rejected, and they are unicorns among unicorns. This is what to expect in a creative life. So when you get rejected, it's just another day at work. It just sucks a little more. And you don't have to write every day, but consistency is good if you can manage to make some sort of consistent practice. But both of these things, the underlying advice is, you have to do the work. And it made me sad because he really wanted the magic bullet. He wanted somewhere out there. I don't know what he was looking for, because I don't know what kind of answer he could receive to do what he wanted to do, which is apparently make a creative career. I now hate this anecdote because I really dislike the person who gave it to me, so I'm not going to name the person. Horrible person in private, and was once a beloved author to the public. But he gave good advice. When I mentioned some people are afraid or don't know where to go in their career, what advice would you give? He just said, okay. Like, you're gonna need to make your own reasons to do it. Any advice from a pro is not gonna land if you don't already know that you have to do it. And it's that problem of, if you quit, there's likely not a lot of people who will notice, and that hurts. But if you write something and it's bad, not a lot of people will notice because you're a beginner. It's a good thing and bad thing. It's like, go write all the crap. People probably won't notice for a while. And if they do notice, and you just manage to hit some sort of cultural zeitgeist, is that the word I'm looking for? And no matter the quality of the writing, you're exciting a lot of people, then great, keep going. Awesome. But it does all come down to the fact that we have to do the work. And I don't like it either. Trust me. A big part of this podcast is me just telling the things out loud that I have to say to myself. I am a queen of list making, and my brain feels all happy and fulfilled when I write a list. If I grab all the little slips of paper on my desk and I clean them up by making one big list, I feel good. Have I done anything? No. But I feel good. And when I knew that I did need to do that pre-writing stuff I mentioned earlier, sort of outlined but not really, I knew that doing that was part of the process. But writing is the next step. and it doesn't matter what I try to put in front of it. It's not going to get done until I write. And if you find yourself looking for a magic bullet in every single piece of advice that a podcaster gives you, or a writer gives you, or a blog gives you, if you keep hearing these advice bits and you keep bouncing off of them, and you bounce off of every single one, then you need to look at yourself and see if this is what you really want to do. Because some people say you need to write every day, and that's not feasible for everybody. And so, you can bounce off of that advice. I think it's dangerous to go back and edit before the book is done if you are a beginner. But, you can do that if you continue to write the book. That's the problem. You can't just keep going back and fixing and fixing and fixing without actually finishing it. But, you can go back and edit. It's there's a bunch of advice out there that assumes if you don't take this advice, you will make poor choices and not finish. So if you don't write every day, you will get into a habit. You will not develop a habit or a routine, and you'll never finish your book. If you keep going back to edit chapter 1 instead of going to chapter 4, you will never finish your book. That's the unspoken part, but that's not necessarily true. There are ways you can write every other day, on weekends, whatever. In 5 minutes at night. It's just find your writing time and do it. And if you don't sabotage your own self by editing, then edit as you go if you can. That's great. But so there's some writing advice you can bounce off of and take something else, but it's like the guy at the event, he did not want to hear the thing. It's we want to help. We want to help. We know that your largest and our largest hurdles are in front of us, built by our own selves, built by the bullies that live in our mind. And yeah, I want to hear something magical that will make me want to sit down and write the best book I can. I would like a way to easily decide which one of the 5 projects I have in front of me, which ones I want to do next. But at some point, there's no trick, there's no use of apple cider vinegar, there's no one weird thing you can do as long as you watch a 30-minute infomercial about stuck poop that will make you write. And I'm sorry. Eventually, you will have to do the work. And chat is going. Thank you for the resub, Steven. Wow, good to see you. Crystal Briar's here. Thank you. I'm pleased with the hair, yes. Ian is here. Hello. JC Bloom, hello and welcome. And Kids Are Asleep is here. All right. Triffid, hey, good to see you. Yes, choice paralysis, it's tough. One thing I do use, that the only trick that really helps me, is the random number generator. I number everything on my list, and as long as it's not something that's go out and leave the house and go grocery shopping right now, it usually gets me through a good part of my list, just because I don't hem and haw or have to prioritize or whatever. At least something gets done. And if that would work for you, I think it just feels like a God takes the choices and the executive function problems out of my hands. And, now I can work. Okay. I don't pretend to understand it. I don't understand it. It's very weird. But that is the thing that gets me moving for some weird reason. So I'm very sorry that there's not a magic bullet. If we had them, we'd all shoot ourselves first, and suddenly the metaphor gets dark and I don't like it anymore. But eventually you're going to have to write. And the way you get there can vary. the advice you take to get there, the community you keep to get there. If you need to do write-ins with other people, body doubling, or whatever, that is fine. But at the end of the day, you have to do the work. That's what it comes down to. And I really hope that guy, I doubt he's listening, but I really hope that someone tells him this, because it's hard to hear. Because it's like, sometimes it's like you look at somebody who has a career, and when they talk about their problems, you're thinking, wow, that sounds just like me. But they did the work. So how did that happen? And it's like, at some point, it's just do it. And that feels like an insurmountable obstacle. Insurmountable? Did I use that right? I was an English major. I'm a writer. I know vocabulary. Seat, hello. My motivation is usually being sick of my own BS. That's good. I mean, that's good. Crystal Briar wants the secret now. Underpope needs to know what book will give me the one and true secret to writing best-selling novels. I believe that's I Should Be Writing. It is still available via ebook, and if you buy a whole bunch of copies for your friends, you will get the secret. Self-imposed deadlines are always tough. That is a very good point, and it's really tough. Kids Are Asleep says, it's like exercise. You can take advice for fitness plans and specific diets, but no one else can work out for you. And your body's not the same as everyone else's and will have unique needs. Thank you, Valerie. That's a very good point. Seat says, I need the one song I can listen to for perfect motivation and inspiration. I would say Run It by Stray Kids. Look it up. It's got a kicking... excellent horns and drums and really cool video too, but I guess you wouldn't do that while you're working out unless you're working out somewhere with a screen, but not like running on the road. But yes, Run It by the Stray Kids. Very good. Well, Blade Mur, the I Should Be Writing book contains the secret. Of course it does. Especially when my day job is constant deadlines. Yeah, Ian, you might have to come up with your own hack. That's one of the hardest things I think for beginning writers is setting a deadline and sticking to it. Because I'm doing that right now. I'm trying to get a deadline of just get some stuff to my agent, and because there's no hard deadline and he's not tapping his wrist and there's no editor waiting with grabby hands, I have let time pass. But as I've said in recent episodes, I think I'm going to be repeating this because I'm thinking it is the best thing. And it's weird because I've known this is the best thing for years and years and years, but I never really articulated it. And the best thing is community. When you are with your peers, you can say, somebody approached me and said if I gave them $5,000, they could recommend they could put me on the New York Times bestseller list. Your community will go, no, 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 stop. And if you're having problems writing or problems focusing, your community can be there and say, let's do a write-in, let's do accountability buddies. And that can help. So I'll go back, community. There are many communities online. My community is behind the Patreon paywall. Every tier gets into the Discord, but it's a very dedicated group of writers who support each other a lot. And I'm sorry to turn this into a commercial, but I will say any community you can find online is great. Lots of people don't have paywall Discords, and so you could find all sorts of communities online. I'm not saying you have to come to mind. Christopher says, I worked for Barnes & Noble for 9 years. I could have put any book I wanted on the New York Times bestseller list. Shelf. It's a good point. I need to go back, sneak over to Barnes & Noble, get my book on the shelf. Steve says, all I need is this complete absence of all distractions and responsibilities. Unfortunately, I'm extremely good at conjuring entirely new distractions and responsibilities out of thin air. This is the downside, when some people say, I understand I'm privileged in the fact that I have been able to pursue my writing career while my husband worked full time. I understand that. But I also can promise you that a lot of people say when they retire or when they go on vacation or if they get just some time to themselves, they will then start to write. You won't. Trust me. If you don't write when you have an hour free, you're not going to write when you have 8 hours free. I live it. I promise. So it's, you're never going to find the distractions and responsibility free area because you will create them. And that's something else that's hard to tell people. It's like, no, you dream of the future where you'll just be the writer that rents the cabin by the sea and writes all day. And no, you won't. You won't. I wish I knew some face-to-face writers. Whenever I find another person who writes, it never aligns into sharing things or mutual critique. Yeah, I don't know how to help you with face-to-face, but I mean, there are lots and lots of crit groups online. It's, I think the internet's been great for building those kinds of communities, but it is nice having people in real life, which is why I miss Ursula so much, because she moved to Albuquerque. Thank you for the hydrate. We are right before Worldcon, and I'll hope I'll get this up. This will go up next week. So I think it'll go up right when Worldcon starts or a little bit after. And I am busy now trying to get a whole bunch of people scheduled. I get I fully admit it's self-created. I get self-created anxiety before a convention because it's like I have this empty calendar and I have a list of people I want to see. Do I tell them I have all this free time? Do I put them on different days? Because if I say, hey, I'm free on Friday, what if they all come back and say, Friday at 1, yay? Excuse me. So I fret about this a lot. So I'm actually trying to make a lot of meetings or coffees or drinks or meals planned ahead of time, which is, I hope it'll be good. And I'm saying this very carefully. I am having to remind myself that unless you have an actual dislike of somebody for a reason, like I have a couple of people I will never speak to again. And it's not even like a missing stay harassment thing. It's they've made me so angry I will not speak to them. It's good to keep all your options open. Someone from a long time ago approached me and asked if we could get together at Worldcon. And I decided to say, well, you never know when something will help your career. So if you don't have an actual reason not to talk to somebody, a lot of negatives there. Yeah, that's right. Then, you might as well meet with them, say hi, see what they're up to. And I'll tell you guys now, because I'll make a note to cut it out. It's you guys have heard my agent stories, right? I had an agent. He never got back to me. I fired him. Got another agent. She couldn't sell my book, so she fired me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is agent number 2, the one who fired me. And she's not trying to poach me, or if she is, she's very disillusioned. But she's just like, I'd love to catch up. She also gave me the fascinating backhanded compliment of, I've seen your new book. Your designer really killed it. So yeah, she thinks my book has a good cover. And I don't know if I would have thought that if it wasn't somebody who I'd had a iffy, not iffy, just like, a past where we worked together and then we both decided not to. But that was just funny. I really cutting this out. What timestamp are we on? Okay. 36 cut. Okay. Yeah, so I've decided, I don't have an actual beef with her. I was going to fire her if she hadn't fired me first. So I'm curious about what she wants to talk about. So should be interesting. But I've decided that, there's no reason not to, really. And it's good to keep friendly roads open. What book was she unable to sell? Oh, the book that everyone's unable to sell. That would be the Heaven novella series, the Afterlife series. It was a novella series that I wrote for podcast in 2006, 2007, 2008. And it's basically what built my podcast following at the time. I released it on podcast. I released it serially, and I learned a lot about writing serially. It was interesting. I kind of did something different for every installment of the book. And I had so many people who wanted it. I had later on I did a very successful Kickstarter. My goal was 2,000, I made 20,000. I also have a whole bunch of misprinted books in my basement, so I'm kind of jealous of the people who do Kickstarters now and actually have someone to fulfill it. But that's neither here nor there. My point is the fans loved this series, and no agent could sell it. Nobody could. And I fired my fourth agent in, I would say 2013, 12 or 13. It was 2012. Sorry. It was 2012. I fired her because she did not like the book I was writing, but she wanted to go back and try to sell the Heaven series again. And I'm like, I have rewritten this book 3 times to try according to an agent's advice, and it never sold, and I never want to touch it again. And and I said, are you interested in anything I'm writing now? And she said no. So yeah, that's when I said maybe we shouldn't work together then. It takes a lot to get to the point where someone deserves the cut direct. Yes, if they're not obviously harmful to the community. It's just sad that, I have to make that caveat, That's never happened to me. I've been, very happy that that's never happened. But there have been people so nasty that, no. The horrific guest of honor reading at Albicon that I've told you guys about, anybody who commented on that, I can only name 2 people who were in that room. No. No. They can go do whatever they want over there. I will not. No. Ugh, now I'm mad again. Why did I say that? Had to think of it. Anyway. We do need to come up with a time that the Fabulous are meeting. And I need something to wear to the Hugos. It's, yeah. I bought a suit online, and the top didn't fit, and the bottom fit, and it didn't look good. So, a little panicky about that. But, I'm also trying to learn a little bit more about makeup. I bought 3 really weird colors of lipstick, and this morning my husband, who does not, he doesn't insult me. So, if he has something to say about what I'm wearing, I take it very seriously, because he almost never, tells me something doesn't look good or just doesn't comment on that. But if something stands out, he'll say something. And I got these 3 weird colors, this orange that I'm wearing now, and a asphalt shiny dark gray, and a green. And I put the asphalt one on this morning, and Jim's like, yeah, you look kind of dead. Unless that's what you're going for. You look kind of dead. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. But I was talking to John Scalzi at a con a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me he might just go in a dinosaur costume, those inflatable things. And I don't know if I'm there yet, but, in the semi-pro-zine world, kind of getting the Susan Lucci feeling, you know. But it's fun to dress up as NerdCon people, nerd prom people. But then again, my feet don't like the high heels so much anymore. So what looks good like at the very beginning of the night is agony for the rest of the night. So I also can't do that. I wondered about the lipstick. I'd never seen that rusty color on a lipstick. Yeah, they're interesting. I like them. I'm not sure how it works with my hair, but I just thought I'd try something new and put on a little makeup and get the shininess off my face because I'm on camera. And I've gone way, way past all sorts of talk of holding grudges. Really, that's really what it is holding grudges. I hold grudges, and I don't want to, but sometimes they just, the grudge just sits there and won't move. It's like holding a grudge is like forgiveness or belief in a deity. It's like that's a feeling. You can't tell me what to feel or not feel. It's like, yes, I should forgive him. Unfortunately, there's nothing in this head or emotion space that knows what that means to not feel slighted or forgive or whatever. So, but I think that's probably maybe my own problem. Crystal Briar says, my husband will say things like, is that what you're wearing? Specifically to get the look of murder out of me. He's kidding. Yes. A red that matches your hair would look great, and I like the rust red on you too. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I promised myself, I bought a bunch of makeup a couple of weeks ago and promised myself I'd practice. I practiced once. That's not practicing. So maybe I should do that after this. I was going to do this before streaming, but like I said, I did my book giveaways, and so I was working on the postage and packing for those that I'm going to run out and send them when I'm done. Except for the one person who didn't send me his address. Another thing is, my podcasts go automatically to YouTube. And I don't care what people say, YouTube is not the magic place to discover podcasts, or else it's not for me. But I have thought, I have this audio with me being a little bit more animated than just, a video of me being animated than seeing the podcast image and hearing my voice, which is what uploads now. And I thought maybe I'll just do that. It's not terribly exciting, I know. But why not? I have the video. It's here. Although if I do it for YouTube now, it's going to be cutting all that part out at 36 minutes. Because I'm embarrassed enough to say that and have it be on a VOD where the ex-agent will probably never see it. But I panic about that. I think it's because someone read my diary when I was little, and I got sent to a psychiatrist. So I have never felt comfortable writing anything personal down. Like even my morning pages or whatever, there's some stuff I don't put in there. It's not like I suspect somebody in my family. It is a learned response. I'll talk about what's up here, but down here, no, I'm not going to put that in writing. Are you insane? Sorry, I'm trying to stop saying that word, but it is a little ridiculous to have this hang up when you are around people you trust. Which is why I don't like having little things in my VODs either that could implicate me or be even just seen as unprofessional. How quickly could you put together an outfit that's made from hundreds of post-it notes that says it's an honor just to be nominated? Interesting question, Steve. The thing I get is wardrobe malfunction. If I could trust that the post-its would all stick together and not give me any sort of body part slip at any point, that would be fun. But I can't. I mean, even just going from standing to sitting, that just imagining it all falls apart. So no, I like the idea, but no. Yeah, I think I might go out today, tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Now I'm just thinking about stuff. I have a reading at Worldcon, and thank goodness they said exactly how much my reading time is. I don't know what to read. I was kind of intimidated at the last con reading because I know why they did what they did, but they put like 4 of us with John Scalzi, and I know it was like, let's get everybody in the room who loves Scalzi, and they'll listen to all these authors that don't have the same following, but it's still really hard to read next to John Scalzi. And I think there was some laughter, but for some reason I walked away not having gotten the response that I wanted, which could entirely be of my own, an anxiety of my own creation. Could staple them to a fabric dress. A fabric dress I don't like, I guess. See, it says, I went to Canada when I was 18, and my mom read a sarcastic email I sent to a friend that I was going to decapitate my parents for leaving me at my job for 2 days when I didn't have a car. She changed the locks over a sarcastic email. And your parents are still alive 21 years later. Oh my God. Well, it's like that whole, like, don't read the email if you don't want to find out what's in the email. I don't know. I think that's an overreaction. But I thought that what happened to me was an overreaction, so. Yeah. I was talking last week about being excited about seeing a bunch of people at Worldcon, and I discovered recently that a lot of people I was looking forward to seeing are virtual. Now, it's great that they have the virtual thing. Our dear friend Valerie can participate in Worldcon, and she is virtually. And it helps international authors as well, and it helps people who can't attend enjoy Worldcon. But I was kind of under the impression that I would get to see some of these people, and found out that Wally Talabi, who has a new book out in October, won't be there. And I was excited about being a panel with Kieran Gillian, and he won't be there either. And I'm sad that Valerie won't be there. And that's just sad, man. Anyway, this also means if you don't have a virtual ticket if you're not going to Worldcon, I think you can probably still buy a virtual ticket and still, see a bunch of cool people on the feed. I even use the virtual setup in my hotel room occasionally. Yeah, I need to figure out how I'm going to be on that panel. I need to look into that because there's probably an email I need to read. Because if Kieran's going to be gone and I'm going to be at the con, I don't know where I'm supposed to log in. But that's a me problem. I have promo things I need to make, and I need to know what I'm writing or reading. Yeah. All right. I keep hearing Kieran Gillian instead of Kieran Gillian. Yeah, it's probably my non-Irish accent. Kieran Gillian. It's possible I want to put another uh, uh, syllable in the second name, like Terry Gilliam. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, the really cool Irish writer, comic book writer guy. Yeah. Well, I've gone completely off the rails. I said everything I wanted to say about the magic bullet. It doesn't happen, and I'm sorry. At some point, you're going to have to decide what advice to follow, what road to take in order to gain your creative goals. But you're not alone. There are tons of people out here on the internet, maybe in your hometown. Check your libraries, check writing. I think some people still use meetup.com. There are communities out there, and just maybe having somebody who will sit beside you and write, that can help. But yeah, it's tough. I know it is. That's why not a lot of people do it. You know? Underpope says, reading magic bullets, many writing advice books promise magic bullets, but none deliver. I'm very selective on which craft books I read nowadays. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing like craft book reviews as I come across them. Um, I haven't finished page one to done. I listened to half of it and then I bought it on ebook so I could read it and do my brainstorming from that instead of the audio. Craft book reviews would be awesome. Okay. Well, you guys are going to have to tell me what's out there. Like if there's a new craft book you want me to look at, I'm happy to pick it up and give it a review. Let me know. I worry that AI is destroying the youth reading market for people wanting to eventually break into the scene. Is that a valid concern or no? I don't know. I don't know. AI makes me very despondent. Sometimes I feel like the kids are all right when you hear some people's views on AI or the slop that they get fed or whatever. People are getting dumber by the fact that they're not doing problem solving thinking. They're literally getting worse at, thinking when they're not doing it. It's mind-bogglingly expensive and terrible in the environment, and I feel like if at some point they're going to have to charge what they need to charge to keep making it. And, I think if people find out that their fun little best friend who will tell them they do no wrong even if they steal cars or kick puppies will cost more, I don't know. I don't know. It's, and I'm not even somebody who's like, has to deal with students, which has got to be really tough. But I don't know. I've just decided to just keep my head down and keep creating. And that doesn't help because, somebody's going to have to address it. I'm hoping that the publishers will step up. But it's bugging me that all of the writer things that I look at, like the publications, Publishers Weekly, Writer's Digest, and I think, yes, even Literature and Latte, which is the company that makes Scrivener, they're all advertising AI products, which is worrisome. So I really think that almost everybody who champions it are either lazy or paid off. I don't know. I'm going to try to, hold my place in the sand and just write weirder and weirder stuff that AI can't duplicate or come up with. Let's see. Sario says, I think things will get worse before they get better, but the AI bubble can't last. Yeah. Employers will eventually figure out that they need human critical thinking, and AI can't do that. Exactly. And then, somebody's pointed out that if AI takes all of the entry-level jobs, who is going to be management in 20 years? Stephen says, my biggest worry is that by the time the general consumer realizes AI isn't worth paying for, they'll have sold it to all our governments, so we'll end up paying anyway with money that should go to other services, etc. Well, crap. Yeah. Plotter's committed to incorporating no AI tools into their product. What is Plotter? That's Plottr. That's not the analog notebook, obviously. Seed says, I just already know the literacy rates in the U.S. is depressing before AI was on the scene, so sometimes I get a hopeless feeling about my work in progress. You just got to keep making it. Yes, the literacy rate is dropping, but kids are reading more online. And I think it's harder for YA people because of the problems with education and readers, but I've also heard that kids are reading a ton of stuff online. Like, it was like pulling teeth to get my kid, who was a reader, to get them interested in anything that I put in front of them. I would try to find books that I thought appealed to what they liked, and then I would see them reading Hawaii Five-0 fanfic on AO3. They didn't even watch Hawaii Five-0. It was just that good of a fanfic. So going to where the readers are will be the big step. Or write books about dragons and sex, I guess. Or both. Now I really can't put this VOD up because Plotter is primarily for outlining and planning. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would love to use something like that, except I can't. Going back to the random number generator thing, Steve DeGroof, I don't know if he's still here, but a couple of years ago, he wrote a browser tool that did what I asked it to, and even more. It would you put all your things down and then you roll the die and something chooses. But if you've got things, I didn't know what to do for things like I want to write, and writing is more important than doing the dishes, so I could put different weights on, writers. If a writing is heavier than laundry, writing has a bigger chance of coming up, things like that. And it was really fun to use, except I have to make my notes by hand. I've never been able to use any sort of planning tool. Not Evernote, not the other ones that I forget the name of because I bounced off them so hard. Notion? Yeah. I just, my brain just does not like it. I loved the tool, but I got to do it on paper and pen, and it's got to be really bad writing, and it's got to be something that's not in a notebook so I can lose it later. Fanfic is fun. I read a lot of it myself. Fanfic's great. Still here. Okay, thank you, Steve. It was an awesome tool. I didn't know if you wanted to wanted you to know that I really appreciated it. That's what I'm trying to say. Remember the Milk? Yes, I tried to remember the Milk. Didn't use it. I am one of my projects. Talking about publishers and choosing and whether people are going to read it or not. I'm going to be releasing one of my books through Patreon. And that'll be the 6-week sequel. Because nobody wants it. And I want to write it. So I need to get well into the writing, and I need to figure out my tiers. But you can take this as a declaration that I will be doing the 6-week sequel on Patreon. Self-pub, baby. Like the olden days. I am talking to the artist in my life about a cover art, but they are like in the middle of moving to a new apartment and starting a life, and I don't know, just priorities, whatever. But I could be working on it now when I'm not doing that. So got to work on the thing that I want my agent to sell, and got to work on the thing I'm going to self-pub. You'd think my path would be clear, wouldn't you? Yeah. Anyway, folks, if you have any questions, let me know. But I'm about to wrap it up. I am considering, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a live stream of the episode for next week, or if I'll just record it and put it up. But you'll get the message if you're on Twitch and you follow me. You'll get the message I'm online. I know people like it when you schedule things, but for some reason my brain's just not finding a good place for that to happen. Underpope Votes live stream. Thank you. Okay. It may not be with the fancy overlay. It may just be at my desk with my phone, but yeah, I can do that. But thank y'all for listening to I Should Be Writing. You can find out more about me and how to support me over at Murverse.com. The Patreon is at patreon.com/MightyMur, and you can get access to archives and exclusive stuff and ebooks and my newsletter over there. You can follow for free and get the newsletter. You don't have to give me any money at all, and you'll still get the newsletter, which will get all the news as it implies. I'll be at Worldcon, and I'll be doing lots of neat things, including a live Ditch Diggers with Ursula Vernon, aka T. Kingfisher, and a live Escape Pod. We'll be celebrating Escape Artist's 20th anniversary, and also Escape Pods, even though it's our 21st. And what else? Yeah, I'll be doing a reading. I'll be losing a Hugo. It'll be great. So, but that's at Worldcon next week in LA, and then I'll be back for a good amount of time before more travel. So yeah, I'll be able to think about stuff and get into a regular streaming habit and everything. It'll all be magic. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. I need to come up with a good outro, but that requires writing. And I need to be writing other things. So I will see you guys. If I don't see you at Worldcon, I will see you on my next live stream, I hope. And until then, you should be writing. Yeah, if you guys are at Worldcon, please come look me up. 11 books since 2018. Good Lord. That kind of thing makes me sad. I'm like, I could never do that. Even though you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to do the you're not supposed to compare yourself, and yet I do all the time. JC, are you the Jamie that's been supporting the Patreon for a while? Or is you another Jamie? If you're another Jamie, that's cool. All Jamies are good. Probably. No, sorry. No problem. No problem. Glad to have you here. Would love to meet you at Worldcon. Yeah, and thanks for dropping by, Stephen. It was good to see you. Got to see a lot of people I don't normally see. It's exciting. Remember her wanting to quit after the third book didn't seem to go anywhere. Well, then what happened, Ian? Buy your books and vote for you. That, well, I appreciate it. That's you didn't even have to do that, but just wanted to be, you know, if you were somebody who had been supporting me, I wanted to say thank you. But you showing up and hanging out in the stream is also very cool. The stories keep coming to her. Okay, so what it wasn't like she didn't let her performance address her like weigh on her decision to keep going. It was just the fact that she wanted to keep telling stories. Oh, well, that's cool. Good for her. Well, I am, I guess we'll raid into series. Series is finishing a blanket, and, you know, sometimes we raid into somebody who plays shooty games and swears, and sometimes we raid into crafters, and sometimes we raid into all sorts of things. I know a lot of people who don't play games on Twitch raid into other people who do the same thing, but I don't know. I have a wide variety of stuff I like to watch, and so whoever's streaming whilst I am wrapping up, I'll go visit. Stephen, are you streaming today? I forget your schedule. No, not today. Okay. I will do the shoutouts though, since all of my bots are broken, apparently. Okay, good. Okay. Did I miss any other streamers? Steven, Valerie. I don't think so. If I did forget another streamer, speak up, please. I am very forgetful. All right. All right, we will rate in a series then, and you will watch them do lovely crocheting of a blanket. Hooray, and the raid happened. If I do another live stream, it'll probably be tomorrow. And it may not be anything fancy. It may just be me recording. We'll see. Again, I'm throwing something new into my schedule, and my brain just is having trouble grabbing onto where it would best fit, but it needs to happen before we go to LA. So we'll see that. Anyway, thank you guys for being here and hanging out with me and talking, and I will see you next time, whenever that is. If you are going to Worldcon and I don't stream again before then, please drive safely and fly safely, be safe. Hope to see you, and y'all take care. Bye. Thank you, Stephen. You too.